in the anime Naruto.
Thank you.
Right.
I was like, what?
Naruto,
He's like, Naruto.
Naruto.
Yeah. Naruto.
The main ninja Naruto.
Yeah.
Right. His like first abilities is to make clones of himself. Yeah, just replicants, and he's learning a very hard like ninja technique with like he's like bending wind or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But he clones a bunch of himself, learning it, and then one clone learns a little trick on how to achieve it. He converges. Now all the clones learn
that one trick,
and they start from sending
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's quantity over quality.
It becomes quantity over quality at this point.
It's a lot harder to build a brain that's better than yours. Why not just have brains that are a little bit less than yours, but they can go through all the different permutations that would take you millennia or whatever.
But they're just smart enough to get that little technique,
and then that becomes part of the training.
Yeah. So that's an anime from
right.
That's like 15 years ago and that's before reinforcement learning, and they do that now in reinforcement learning.
Yeah.
They get a bunch of agents. They clone the agents. They do tweak a little bit of noise for each one, and then they every generation they learn from the previous generation.
Yeah.
So you can do that, but it's like, is that cheating? Right? At what point does it become like, it's not mine?
Oh, that's already happening.
Right, but if you write a paper, say on the matrix multiplication, right? You didn't solve it. You implemented the algorithm.
You asked the right question.
Discover, yeah.
I think what humans consider intellectual property is going to change a lot in the next year. I think that's going to change.
Yes, because I think a lot of the achievements won't be human developed. It'll be human prompted.
Yeah,
but it won't be human developed, and that's like, who's taking ownership of that? Doesn't matter. Ownership doesn't matter what ownership is if it's just knowledge and like beauty.
Well, I think it matters to humans a lot, right?
It matters to humans, yeah.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't matter in the sense of what history of progression of science
you get into a dangerous position, right? So how do you, if that's the case, if it shouldn't matter, how do you justify salaries, jobs, all these things, right?
No, I agree with you. But that's a human structure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is a human structure, but we all have to live. We all have to, you know. So I what I'm saying is, I think ownership is integral to the structure we've created, like academia specifically, or writing, like the arts, right? The only ones that it doesn't really matter is sports, right? Like you can't.
Well, I mean, sports records are entirely based on the individual.
It's completely human. Completely human.
Completely human.
Yes. And some synthetic with some steroids, maybe, but
yeah. Barry Bonds. Oh, thank you. Thank you, steroids should be,
steroids should
hit 70 home runs. Yeah.
But like our jobs which are mostly intellectual, 99.9% intellectual. We do some typing, I guess. Is ownership is how we have jobs, right? You got hired because of the ownership of your intellectual property and your skills. I got hired for the same reason. If that line blurs, I think could be a little dangerous, Yeah,
but we're going to see more of that.
Well,
how do you adjust that as a society?
I don't know.
If that's what's coming, right?
Are people going to judge us based upon how we interact with AI?
Is that and what is that? Is that's just like a beta to?
Are you a good prompt
beta
engineer?
To knowledge?
Yeah. Are you a good prompt engineer? Do you integrate with AI well? That's how you're going to be judged.
If that's the case,
yeah,
education has to change towards that.
Yes, education's already decades like slower than where it should be.
Yeah,
at least in America, right? Kids are just learning how to code now, like in schools. Like that's becoming like a thing.
Yeah,
right. By the time those kids get to college, coding is going to be obsolete. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, yeah, I think the way we're going to have to train society, if AI continues in the path it is, we're going to have to train our children how to integrate with AI. That's going to be the selling point.
Yeah. And I also think, well, I mean, there was a tweet by, I think, Karpathy, saying like English is the most powerful language now, right?
It's the lingua franca, yeah.
Because ChatGPT and whatnot. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it becomes...
it's even more powerful than it already was. It was already a lingua franca, but yeah.
Right. It's because it's utility. Now, how all the English majors might be more valuable than us because they can express...
Oh, I see.
They can express themselves and how to
better than we can.
Yeah, all the writers and all the.
I will say, I think I'm a pretty good prompt engineer.
I'm not a very good prompt engineer, but I think I have higher level understanding, and that helps me out. And I think that's a technique for people, how well they can absorb higher level techniques.
You either have to be good at building AI or integrating with it. I think those are the two skill sets. You either have to be good at advancing it in ways that only a human can do, and integration. I think those are the two things. Like,
yeah, it's better. It's like we raised our children to be able to answer questions. Now we have to raise our children how to ask questions. Yeah.
Yes,
I think that's become the technique. I mean, we should. If you're a good parent, you have already done this, right? But that's the thing to do now. We should be able to have our kids be able to ask questions, and the right ones, and to guide thought.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, I think that education has to change, and hopefully that's within the next year. Like, they understand that, you know.
It won't be for another 5 to 10, but yeah.
Well, if you're a parent,
be aware,
be aware, and have your kids, see if they can think of a solution, and see if your kid can get to it by asking the right questions to it. Yeah, it's like the 20 questions, right?
Yeah,
it's like practicing that.
I think parents should not be afraid to have children interact with AI early. Absolutely. Like using ChatGPT right now, like, the web-based version, just have them log on and just have a conversation. I think understanding how to interact with that's going to be it's going to be more valuable than coding knowledge, because if they know how to talk to ChatGPT will do all the coding for them.
Yeah, and we're talking about, years to come, the coding from these GPT programs are going to be even better and better and better.
Yeah.
Up to the point where you can't tell the difference between a professional programmer and But you have to be able to ask the right questions. Oh, did you check for this edge case? Oh, did you make a unit test for this? Like, you have to be able to have the higher level understanding of what to do.
Yeah.
And that becomes like the trick, right? I think it helps to be able to program, because then you understand the nuances a little more.
Yeah.
Of course. But it's the same thing as like a calculator, right? Calculators got rid of lower level concepts for humans.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to practice optimizing multiplication in your head.
Yeah.
Because you can do it on your phone.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You don't have to waste resources on how multiplication almost works, but on like how to use multiplication on what areas. Like, if you're doing fucking, the area of a rectangle, you have to understand that's multiplication.
Yeah.
Versus like being able to multiply 5 by 4.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it becomes like how to write the formula, how to ask the right questions for the lower level things that AI can do.
Yeah, that's a good point.